F-8 Crusader is a supersonic carrier-based fighter aircraft developed by the United States during the early Cold War. Designed for air superiority at a time when missile technology was still uncertain, it was created to meet a pressing requirement: a fast, high-altitude interceptor capable of operating from aircraft carriers and defeating Soviet bombers and fighters. The Crusader mattered because it bridged two eras of air combat. It combined classic dogfighting principles, speed, climb, and guns with the emerging age of guided missiles and supersonic flight. In doing so, it became one of the most distinctive and influential naval fighters of the 20th century. 2. Origin and development history. The F-8 Crusader originated in the United States, developed by Vought Aircraft Industries. The program began in 1952 in response to a U.S. Navy requirement for a supersonic fighter capable of sustained carrier operations. The aircraft first flew on the 25th of March 1955. It entered operational service with the U.S. Navy in 1957, replacing earlier subsonic fighters such as the F-9F Panther and F-8 Banshee, and competing against contemporaries like the McDonnell F for Phantom II, which would later emphasize missiles over guns. The Crusader was developed at a time when the Navy demanded both speed and precision, but still believed in close-range combat as a decisive factor in air warfare. 3. Design philosophy and airframe. The design philosophy of the F-8 Crusader centered on speed, climb performance, and pilot visibility, while preserving safe carrier takeoff and landing characteristics. Its most distinctive feature was the variable-incidence wing, which could be raised by 7 degrees during takeoff and landing. This allowed the fuselage to remain level, improving pilot visibility while maintaining eye-lift, an innovation unique among operational fighters. The airframe was constructed primarily from aluminum alloys, typical of the era, with a long, slender fuselage optimized for supersonic flight. Large air intakes and a sharply swept wing gave the Crusader its unmistakable profile. 4. Engine and propulsion system. The F-8 Crusader was powered by variants of the Pratt and Whitney J57 turbojet engine, depending on the version. Thrust ranged from approximately 10,000 to 100 pounds force, 45.4 kilonewtons, dry to 16,000 pounds force, 71.2 kilonewtons with afterburner. Later variants benefited from incremental improvements in reliability and thrust. This engine gave the Crusader excellent acceleration and climb performance, crucial for interception missions launched from carriers with limited deck space. 5. Speed and flight performance. The F-8 Crusader was capable of a maximum speed of Mach 1.8 to Mach 1.9, equivalent to approximately 1,200 to 1,250 miles per hour, 1,930 to 2,010 kilometers per hour at altitude. Its service ceiling exceeded 58,000 feet, 17,700 meters, and it achieved a rate of climb of over 25,000 feet per minute in optimal conditions. The aircraft was highly maneuverable for its size and era, though it demanded skill and discipline from pilots, particularly during carrier operations. 6. Range, endurance, and fuel. Internal fuel capacity varied by variant, but averaged around 1,000 to 100 US gallons. The Crusader had a combat radius of approximately 450 to 500 miles, 720 to 800 kilometers, depending on mission profile. Its ferry range exceeded 1,700 miles to 1,700 kilometers with external fuel tanks. Later variants were equipped with aerial refueling capability, significantly extending endurance and operational flexibility. 7. Fuel consumption and operating cost. As a single-engine supersonic jet, the F-8 consumed large quantities of fuel, particularly when using afterburner. Publicly estimated fuel burn figures suggest several thousand kilograms of fuel per flight hour during high-performance operations, while exact historical operating costs vary by period and source. The Crusader was considered expensive to operate for its time, requiring intensive maintenance, frequent inspections, and skilled ground crews. Carrier operations further increased logistical complexity. 8. Avionics and sensor systems. Early F-8 variants were equipped with mechanically skinned radar systems, such as the NA PQ-50, later upgraded in improved versions. These radars provided basic target detection and ranging, rather than modern sensor fusion. Electronic warfare capability was limited compared to modern standards, relying primarily on pilot skill and situational awareness. Despite these limitations, the Crusader offered excellent cockpit visibility and intuitive flight characteristics, reducing pilot workload during visual engagements. 9. Weapons and payload. The F-8 Crusader earned the nickname the last of the gunfighters because it was the last U.S. fighter designed with guns as its primary weapon. It was armed with 20mm Colt Mk-12 cannons, supplemented by a IM-9 Sidewinder air-to-air missiles. Later variants added limited air-to-ground capability, including unguided bombs and rockets. Maximum external payload was approximately 4,000 pounds, 1,800 kilograms, carried on underwing pylons. Tench stealth and survivability. Stealth was not part of the Crusader's design philosophy. Its radar cross-section was relatively large by modern standards, and it lacked infrared or electronic signature management. Survivability relied on speed, altitude, and maneuverability rather than low observability. Defensive systems were minimal, reflecting the technological realities of the 1950s and 1960s. 11. Real-world service and combat use. The F-8 Crusader served with the United States Navy and Marine Corps, as well as foreign operators including France and the Philippines. It saw extensive combat during the Vietnam War, where it achieved a strong air-to-air combat record, scoring numerous confirmed kills against North Vietnamese aircraft. U.S. Navy pilots credited its guns and maneuverability as decisive advantages in close combat. French Crusaders remained in frontline service into the late 1990s, demonstrating the platform's durability. 12. Cost, production and global impact. Approximately 1,000 to 100 F-8 Crusaders were produced between 1955 and 1964. Unit costs varied by variant and year, but it was significantly less expensive than later multi-role fighters. Export was limited, but its influence on naval fighter design was substantial. The Crusader shaped carrier aviation doctrine and informed the development of later fighters, emphasizing both speed and adaptability. 13. Strengths and weaknesses. The Crusader excelled in speed, climb rate, and close-range combat effectiveness. Its variable incidence wing was a major operational advantage. However, it was maintenance-intensive, demanding to fly, and increasingly limited as air combat shifted toward beyond visual range. Engagements and advanced avionics. Its single-engine design also posed risks in carrier operations. 14. Final verdict. The F-8 Crusader represents a pivotal moment in aviation history, a fighter born at the intersection of tradition and transformation. It was not stealthy, digital, or multi-role by modern standards, but it was fast, precise, and deadly in the hands of skilled pilots, respected by allies and adversaries alike. The Crusader remains a benchmark of naval fighter design and a lasting symbol of the era, when air combat was decided by speed, skill, and the gun.